The clock is ticking, and Washington is on the brink of chaos. At midnight, the US government could shut down, leaving federal workers without pay and millions of Americans in limbo. Inside the White House, President Trump gathered both parties for a high-stakes meeting that was supposed to solve the crisis. Instead, leaders stormed out pointing fingers, more divided than ever. So what really went wrong behind those closed doors? And who will take the blame when the lights go out? What was meant to be a breakthrough turned into a stalemate. After hours inside the White House, top Democrats and Republicans emerged with one message: nothing had changed. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries accused Republicans of pushing a one-sided deal with no Democratic input. Vice President J.D. Vance fired back, blaming Democrats for refusing to do the right thing. Meanwhile, the clock kept ticking, with less than 48 hours before the shutdown deadline. Instead of unity, the meeting only exposed just how far apart both sides remain. At the heart of the standoff is healthcare. Democrats are demanding an extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies, warning that without it, millions could see their premiums soar next year. Schumer insists the issue can't be kicked down the road, saying every delay means families pay the price. Republicans, however, are pushing for a clean stopgap bill with no extras attached. And right in the middle is Trump, who, according to insiders, showed more sympathy for voters struggling with rising costs than his own party leaders. That quiet split would soon become a dangerous crack inside the GOP camp. For the first time, signs of division began to show inside the Republican ranks. Schumer hinted that Trump himself seemed more open to addressing healthcare concerns than his congressional allies. Behind the scenes, reports suggest a quiet split between Trump and GOP leaders John Thune and Mike Johnson, who wanted to push the fight past the deadline. That raised eyebrows in Washington. Was the president breaking from his own party? For Democrats, it was a rare opening. For Republicans, it was the kind of crack that could widen into a fracture at the worst possible moment. Once the meeting ended, the real battle shifted to the cameras. Schumer declared that Republicans were the only ones standing between the American people and a functioning government. Thune fired back, accusing Democrats of hostage-taking by tying healthcare to funding. Each side raced to frame the narrative, knowing public opinion could decide who survives the fallout. With less than a day before the deadline, the standoff was no longer just about policy. It was about who could convince the country that the other side was to blame. But the finger-pointing was only just beginning. Vice President J.D. Vance didn't hold back. Standing outside the White House, he blasted Democrats for what he called reckless obstruction. "We're headed into a shutdown because the Democrats won't do the right thing," he warned, accusing them of putting troops' pay and essential services at risk. His words echoed across conservative media, hardening Republican resolve and painting Democrats as the villains of the crisis. But while Vance sharpened the attack, the reality was more complicated, and the political risks were about to grow even bigger. What's at stake isn't just a Washington fight, it's the lives of millions of Americans. If the government shuts down, thousands of federal workers could be furloughed, national parks and museums would close, and critical agencies like NASA could grind to a halt. At the core is $1.7 trillion in discretionary spending, covering everything from defense to disaster relief. Democrats argue that healthcare protections must be locked in now, while Republicans frame the showdown as Democrats gambling with the budget. And with midterms looming, both sides know this isn't just about policy, it's about survival. As if the shutdown battle wasn't enough, Trump spent part of the same day hosting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The two leaders unveiled a sweeping 20-point proposal for a ceasefire in Gaza, with Trump pitching the idea of an international board of peace to oversee reconstruction. For a brief moment, attention shifted overseas, but the timing was striking. While Congress bickered over healthcare and funding, the president was simultaneously trying to reshape global diplomacy. To critics, it looked like distraction. To supporters, it showed Trump's ability to juggle crises at home and abroad. Either way, it added another layer of unpredictability to an already chaotic day. By nightfall, it was clear: no breakthrough, no deal, and no time left to waste. Senate leader John Thune faced his first major budget test, trying to keep Republicans united while fending off pressure from Trump. Speaker Mike Johnson, still finding his footing, struggled to balance demands from hard-right conservatives with the fears of moderates in swing districts. On the other side, Chuck Schumer doubled down on healthcare as the Hill Democrats refused to abandon, while Hakeem Jeffries pushed to hold his caucus together against mounting pressure. The White House meeting had ended with nothing resolved, leaving Washington hurtling toward a shutdown and the American people bracing for the fallout. The shutdown battle has become more than a fight over numbers. It's a test of power, trust, and political survival. Democrats insist they're standing up for healthcare protections, Republicans claim they're defending fiscal sanity, and Trump finds himself caught between both sides as the clock runs down. What happens next could reshape not just government funding, but the balance of power heading into the midterms. And one question now hangs over Washington: when the lights go out, who will the American people blame? Well, that's all for this video. Let us know your thoughts down below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Now Famous feed. Thank you for your continued support. See you in the next one.